Today we're going to make a budget-friendly overhead camera setup for making product reviews. This way you'll always be ready and you won't have any setup time. And another big thing is you will not have to reach around a tripod. Reaching around equipment is really irritating to me. Really irritating. I can't stand it. An overhead setup has your desk totally clear with nothing in the way. Let's get started. Here are the components of a cheap monitor mount. This has a clamp that goes on your desk, poles that extend it up high, and an arm to mount your monitor on. We're going to convert this into an overhead camera mount. You can buy these kits for about $30 to $35. First, we're going to start with the clamp. This particular one didn't have foam padding, so I just put a layer of Gorilla Tape on there just to protect the desk. You see, same thing on this surface too with the clamp. So that's one thing you want to check. Most of these do come with foam pads on both of these surfaces to protect your desk. The first thing we're going to do is assemble the clamp and the poles. Now on this particular one, there are set screws here which I'll be using. Then there's a collar which joins the two pipes together. That also has set screws. I will not be using these set screws because I want the ability to take this thing apart, and if I want to change the height of it or to move the arm from the upper section to the lower section. So first, let's start with the rod that's double threaded. We'll assemble that. Then we'll put the collar on the other end. You know what? I'm just going to take these set screws out because they're interfering. So I have some metric Allen wrenches here. And we're just going to take these set screws out because they're going to just get in the way. They're going to fall out on their own and get lost. Okay, now we can screw this collar on. Just tighten it up, and then we can put the second section on. Next, we're going to clamp this onto the desk. Okay, we have the clamp here. And I'm just going to clamp this on the desk. That way we can continue to work on it. Next, we're going to prepare the arm for use. This end will slide on over the pole, but we need to get a camera mounted onto this end. And what I'm going to recommend doing is taking off this whole assembly here. This plate would slide on, and this is your monitor mount. This is your VESA mount, which you could screw this onto a back of a monitor and drop that on here. Now, if you wanted to take a quick and dirty solution, you could just simply bolt a ball head right onto one of these holes and call it good. But we're going to make a little bit nicer looking setup. So I'm going to remove this bolt right here. A lot of times these are pretty tight. They might be Loctited on, and it's going to take quite a bit of force to get that to release. But it will unscrew. Now on this arm we have a plastic insert in here. So I'm going to take my Leatherman and wiggle it out. Now we're left with some holes in the end of this rectangular tubing. Now if these holes are the wrong size, it's possible that you may have to drill one out, but these look like they're going to be larger than we need, so we'll be good. We want to make sure we have the proper side up when we mount this thing. So we're going to put this ball head right on like this. You could just put a phone mount directly on here. If you want to use a regular camera that you can put a base plate on the bottom, you might want to use a quick release like this, an Arca Swiss compatible base plate. Let's mount the ball head on this arm. To do this, the ball head takes a 1/4 20 bolt. This particular ball head is a Ulanzi. These are available on Amazon for about $8, but you're going to need that 1/4 20 bolt. This is what I had laying around. This is a camera accessory, but you can go to Lowe's and probably for 50 cents buy a 1/4 20 bolt. The measurement from here to the tip is 3/8 of an inch. If they're any longer, they won't go into the ball head that far. You have a screw that goes in here, so a longer bolt's not going to work. So let's just stick this through and then screw down our ball head. Okay, I'm going to tighten this up here because this ball head swivels on the base, and I want to be able to get this bolt tight. So there we go. That's all there is to it. So with this setup, with the ball head in this position, you'll be able to do tabletop product reviews. And with the ball head in the upright position, you'll be able to do talking headshots. So you'll be able to do everything with just this one mount. It'll swivel sideways and then up and down. Next, you have to decide if you want one of these bases. Now keep in mind, the basic setup with the monitor mount and the swinging arm is $35. You have an additional $8 for the ball head, and then roughly another $10 for the quick disconnect base plate if you want to use a regular camera. I assume most of you have some type of a cell phone mount, and that's what we'll be attaching on here for this video. This is just a cheap one that came with something else that I had laying around in the drawer. So we're just going to mount that on there tight. And since the ball head swivels, you'll be able to position this however you want. I'm going to slide the arm over top of our post that we have clamped to the desk. Now, as you can see, we have a setup where our phone is held over the desktop. And if I measure from the edge of the desktop to the front of the camera here is 24 inches. So you have the ability of having a 2-foot overhang. You can shorten that up if you like, because you can bend these arms so you can make it whatever length that you like. So this setup is quite adjustable, and it is very sturdy. And one thing I'm going to do is tighten up the clamp over here, which I hadn't done yet. That way when I try and adjust this thing, it doesn't move around. So that's a lot of reach, and this is very, very sturdy. This plastic phone mount here is pretty flimsy. I would advise getting something better than this. This is just what I had laying around. My good one is being used on my phone right now to make this video. So not only is this setup good for tabletop product reviews, we can also flip this ball head around and tighten it here if you want to do a talking head style. This way you'll be using the front camera and you can see yourself on the screen, or better yet, you could flip it around. I recommend using the rear camera for a talking head part of your video. If you use the front camera, you won't get as good a video. The rear camera is the highest quality camera, and phones today have multiple cameras. You want to use your main camera, which is usually going to start at a 1x zoom. You don't want to use the extra wide angle lens, and you don't want to use the telephoto lens. You want to make sure you're on that main camera to get your crispest, best looking video. This is going to be a quick demonstration of a tabletop product review. This is the latest pocket fixed blade that I have made. I just finished this and made the Kydex sheath for it last week, and also this pocket clip. I found this type of pocket clip is the best way to carry a knife. A lot of people like Ulti clips. I can't stand them because while they're easy to put on and clip onto your pocket, they're a pain to get off. They won't come off over the lip of a pocket. Here's what the knife looks like. This is MagnaCut. It's a multi-grind. It has black canvas micarta scales and blue liners. Let's give you some specs. Blade length is just under 3.5 inches. Cutting edge is about 3 1/4. Handle length comes in at about 3 3/4 inches. So the handle length is the bare minimum to get a full grip where it comes just about flush with the edge of my hand, with the edge of my pinky here. So you get a full 4-finger grip on it, and it is very comfortable. It's a nice thick handle to use. You can see it's about 3/4 of an inch thick. So in a pocket fixed blade, I want comfort. I want a handle that's better than a folding knife. So in my opinion, you need to have more comfort to go with the increased strength of not having a pre-broken knife. Yes, that's really what a folder is a pre-broken knife. So if you're going with fixed blade, you're getting strength. This one is pretty thin. This is about 3/32 of an inch thick, and it is tapered down, very thin behind the edge. This thing is a great slicer. This has been an excellent utility knife for me to carry every day at work. This section in here, not only is it good for carving wood, it's great for work tasks. This is an excellent place to strip wires. And then you have a very slicey front end of the knife. And it's also great for utility tasks. You don't have to go on too crazy of an angle to get that point into something. A lot of knives, you have to stand them all the way up on end. It's a lot of times clip points, you have to stand them almost straight up in order to, say, pierce tape and open the box. This one you can have on a much lower angle, and that lower angle gives you control. So overall, this has been probably the best pocket knife I've ever carried, folding or not. This thing has been awesome. It's done everything that I've asked for it. I haven't had to sharpen it yet. MagnaCut holds a great edge, especially when it's heat treated very hard, and this one is nice and hard. Nice click, excellent retention, no rattling, nice solid click, both in and out. That's going to be it for this sample product review. In the next video in this series, we'll go over how to get better audio. To get audio like you're hearing right now out of a cell phone. Using the built-in mic in the cell phone is not the way to go. And we'll expand this simple desktop setup to be more powerful and to take your recordings to the next level. We'll see you next time.